Hello everybody, my name is Mateo Leon Rodriguez and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you guys can see, we're back on the top-down view because in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I edit and translate my current work in progress. Now, normally I edit and translate on my phone, but since I'm recording this video, I can't do that. So that's why we're back writing in this notebook. Since I edit and translate after every chapter, I took the liberty of actually writing down a little bit of chapter 3. So that's what we're doing. For some context, this is directly after the call to action when Joel decides he's going to get his older brother back. Okay, so let's take that first line for example. It says, later that night, when I made sure everybody was asleep, I made my silent exit. If I translated later that night directly, it would be después en la noche, but I didn't like it as much, so instead I wrote esa noche. For that second part of that sentence, when I made sure everybody was asleep, that one I can just directly translate. So I put cuando me aseguré que todos estaban dormidos. The tricky part is translating I made my silent exit. It's a bit awkward to try to translate it directly, so I just came up with an alternative of me fui sin hacer ruido, which is I left without making any noise. I'm sure there are better ways of saying it, but that's what I got so far. Okay, so the next couple of sentences are, I packed a bag of all the essentials, extra clothes, fruits, matches, a few water bottles, my new binoculars, and of course, the alebrijes my grandmother made me. Reluctantly, I also brought the knife my father gifted me. It was supposed to be an easy and direct translation, but unfortunately for me, I had a brain fart, so I kind of messed up the sentence structure a little bit. But the sentence now reads, empaqué una mochila con todos los esenciales, ropa extra, fruta, cerillos, unas cuantas botellas de agua, los alebrijes que me hizo mi abuelita, mis prismáticos nuevos, y con retencia también empaqué el cuchillo que me dio mi padre. Moving on, we have the sentence, I didn't intend on hurting anything with it, but I had to be prepared for anything. The sentence I went with is, no tenía intenciones de lastimar a algo, pero tenía que estar preparado. Now, the original sentence has, be prepared for anything, but in this case, I thought it would be a lot better to just simplify it to be prepared. Now, the next sentence reads, the only witch town that I can think of was Colirana, a town full of witch doctors and just straight up witches. The tricky thing about this sentence is that witch doctors and witches sound completely different in Spanish, so we're gonna have to change some words around and see what we can get. Okay, so the sentence I came up with was, el único pueblo que sabía que tenía brujería era Colirana, un pueblo lleno con curanderos y brujas. Now, I think the important part for me was staying true to that sort of casual tone. So that's why, unlike this sentence, this end sentence is a bit shorter, because I wanted to keep it more casual, if that makes any sense. So the reason why I want to keep things more casual is because when Joel writes about his experiences, which is what this book is, he's still kind of young, still kind of immature, so he's not gonna have a very distinct and formal way of writing. Now, the next sentence is, it got its name from the expressions parents used to soothe their children when they get hurt. They would say, sana sana colita de rana. Suddenly, the injury felt a lot better. These witch doctors claim they could do the same thing with more severe injuries for a price. So the interesting thing about that sentence is I kind of use it to explain how sana sana colita de rana is used, but for the Spanish translation, I feel like most people are already gonna know what the term sana sana colita de rana means, so I'm not sure I need to keep that sentence in there or not. So I did end up coming up with a sentence. The sentence goes, le dieron ese nombre en referencia a la expresión sana sana colita de rana. Supuestamente estos curanderos y brujas pueden darte la comodidad que esa expresión trae, pero con alimentos más graves sí puedes pagar, which roughly translates to they gave it this name in reference to the expression sana sana colita de rana. Supposedly, these witch doctors and witches could give you the comfort that that expression brings with more serious ailments if you can pay. Okay, so the last sentence on this page is, my grandmother only told me all this to avoid it at all costs. And here I was directly disobeying her orders in the middle of the night. Okay, so I ended up completely changing the sentence. So now the sentence reads, mi abuelita nomás me dio toda esta información para evitar una situación en la que teníamos que buscar un doctor y llegamos ahí en accidente. Ahora estaba saliendo a la medianoche a buscarlo a propósito. So that translates to, my grandmother only gave me this information to avoid a situation where we're looking for a doctor and ended up there on accident. And now here I was going out in the middle of the night to look for it on purpose. I'm not sure if I like the Spanish to English translation better or if I like the original better. So I'll have to see in the final product if I end up going with one or the other. And page 1 is fully translated. Okay, moving on to the next page. The next sentence reads, even the wind seemed to push against me as I headed for the north exit of my small town. Okay, so the sentence I ended up going with was, hasta el propio viento me empujaba para atrás cuando estaba caminando a la salida de mi pueblo chiquito. Now, I did remove 2 words from the sentence in this translation. I removed the word seem to, and I also removed the implication of north, just because I feel like the sentence flows better if I just go with this. The next sentence is, as much as I needed to get out of town as soon as possible, I found myself dragging my feet. Okay, so the sentence I went with was, aunque tenía urgencia para salir de mi pueblo, mis piernas se sentían pesadas, which roughly translates to, even though I had an urgency to leave my small town, my legs felt heavy. Okay, so the next sentence is, part of me didn't want to leave San Paulo because I wasn't sure how long it would be until I came back, or if I even came back in one piece. So I kind of changed the sentence around when I translated it, but it now reads, una parte de mí no quería irme de San Paulo porque no sabía cuándo iba a regresar o si iba a ser la misma persona cuando regresaba. It's not a direct translation, and really what this is in English is, a part of me didn't want to leave San Paulo because I wasn't sure when I would return or if I'd be the same person when I came back. Okay, the next sentence is pretty simple. It reads, I was going to miss all the local shops, I was going to miss the town plaza, but most of all, I was going to miss my family. This is pretty much a direct translation, so I wrote, iba a extrañar las tienditas, iba a extrañar la plaza central, pero más que nada, iba a extrañar mi familia. The next few sentences are pretty simple. They go, I shook that feeling away. I had to do this for Pascual's sake, which that translates pretty well directly into Spanish. So I just put, sacudí ese sentimiento. Tenía que hacer esto para el bien de Pascual. I don't know if I like the way that sacudí fits into that sentence, but it's good for now. The next sentence is, it took me a while to find a tree that wasn't part of someone's land. The last thing I needed was an angry old guy calling the police on me for trespassing. So, I translated that into Spanish to be, duré un rato en encontrar un árbol que no estaba localizado en el terreno de alguien. La última cosa que ocupaba era un viejo corajudo llamando a la policía por estar en su terreno. Okay, now for the last sentence of this page. Since my eyelids felt as heavy as tungsten, I decided it was a good time to actually get some sleep. In Spanish, that would be como mis párpados se sentían como si estuvieran hechos de tungsteno, decidí que era un tiempo bueno para dormir. Now again, viejo corajudo isn't really formal, but I feel like it fits Joel's personality a little bit better. So I made the metaphor that the eyelids were as heavy as tungsten because Joel in the story is a very big fan of science. On to the last page. The first sentence is pretty simple. It's just I sat on my backpack and laid my head against a tree, which translates directly to me senté arriba de mi mochila y acosté mi cabeza en un árbol. So I had to change up this next sentence a little bit. So the sentence reads, out of an abundance of caution, I took the knife out of the backpack, crossed my arms, and hid it behind my lab coat. So in the translation, I changed it to tomé la precaución de sacar el cuchillo de mi mochila y esconderlo atrás de mi bata de laboratorio. So essentially, I removed the bit about crossing the arms, and I just put that Joel took the knife out and put it behind his lab coat. To be honest, I didn't look over the sentence completely when I was translating it. That's my bad. So that's why I didn't include the cross my arms part. I'll probably add it in later, but let's continue. The next sentence is pretty simple. It's just, with those precautions out of the way, I finally fell asleep, which translates to con esas precauciones puestas, por fin me dormí. The next sentence is, unfortunately for me, I could not prepare for the nightmare I had, which just translates to, desafortunadamente no podía prepararme por la pesadilla que tuve esa noche. Okay, so the next few sentences are, in my nightmare I could see Pascual. I was happy to see him, and so I saw his face. He looked so thin. Which I had to change the sentence around a little bit because translating directly into English isn't really all that possible because the nightmare portion is like possessive, but I think it translates better if I just say the nightmare. So that's why I put en la pesadilla podía ver a Pascual. Estaba feliz cuando miré hasta que me fijé en su cara. Estaba muy flaco. So the rest of that is translated normally, but I just have to remove the possessiveness from the beginning of the sentence. Okay, let's go ahead and finish off these sentences, shall we? The dress shirt he wore seemed baggy even though it was tucked into his dress pants. Next to him was an older man. He was balding and had a thick mustache. He wore an old and tattered clergy outfit. It would have looked funny to me, but I got a really bad vibe from him. So, that translates to, la camisa de vestir estaba floja aunque estaba metido en sus pantalones. A un lado de él había un señor. Se estaba quedando pelón y tenía un bigote grande. Tenía puesto un traje de clero que ya estaba agujerado y viejo. Se miraba chistoso, pero me daba una mala vibra. So most of that sentence is just about the same, but I had to change the sentence where it said next to him was an older man. In Spanish, I'm gonna have to use more words to make that point known. So yeah, those are 3 pages edited and translated for my current work in progress. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this process. Either way, I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments down below, and also let me know what your editing process is like. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. And of course, we can't forget to mark off the bingo sheet. So, we could mark off, edit, and revise your work. This is Mateo Leon Rodriguez, author tube extraordinaire. Thank you for watching my video. You could write another one there.